Recently, I was speaking with a group of college-age young adults, and I said, if you marry a person who is not a Christian, that person will be incapable of truly loving you. As I can imagine right now, you probably have a little shock in what I said, as all of those young adults were staring at me. I said, you can marry that person and they will be capable of sexual attraction with you, of that form of love. They will be capable of companionship, that you will have shared likes and dislikes that you enjoy together. What I mean is that person will be incapable of ongoing, sacrificial, self-giving love that expects nothing in return. Now, why would I make such a statement? I want to connect a few dots. I was teaching with them out of 1 John, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. So if you are born of God, you will love and you can love. That's John's point. If you're a Christian, if you've been born again, you will love, you can love. Now, why is that true? Now, we go to where we've been thinking as a congregation in Colossians. Colossians 2:9, for in him the whole fullness of deity dwells bodily, and you have been filled in him, who is the head and rule of all authority. I used an illustration of a bottle or a jar, that being a Christian is not that Jesus gets poured into us and we leak and pour it out and is poured back and forth. I used the illustration of the Atlantic Ocean. You throw the jar or bottle into the ocean, and the jar then becomes filled with the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean is in the jar, but not all of it. In other words, Christ is in us, and we are in him, but we are not him. But he is in us. Now, what does that have to do with marrying someone or being married to somebody? In fact, it has everything to do with every relationship. That's one of the big points in Ephesians. But let's just stick to marriage, or if you're considering marrying somebody. If you are in Christ and the other person is in Christ, you share something that is way beyond attraction and companionship. You share love in Christ that is defined by God. It goes this way. 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. This is often read at weddings, or it used to be read a lot at weddings. That's not bliss between two people who are just overlooking things in each other's lives. And there's some of that going on when you first get married, then the first year solves that. This is what happens after the first year and into years and decades. And it only comes by people recognizing individually who you are in Christ and recognizing who the other person is. And the fact that we are in Christ, it overcomes the tensions and the breakdowns that we're going to experience in marriage. So this is not a means of manipulation. My years of marriage counseling, one spouse will tell the other they ought to do this. That's really not love. That's self-love. You do this because I want it. I want you to make me happy. This is self-giving love. This is a love that is patient with the other person, that is kind to the other person, that does not envy the other person. It's not rude to the other person. Now I can hear the question out there, well, Jeff, you're talking about two Christians being married. What if I married a non-believer? Well, you love. You're capable of patience if you're in Christ. You're capable of kindness. You're capable of not rejoicing in wrongdoing. You're capable of rejoicing with the truth. You love and you pray. I know of multiple examples of spouses who have come to faith by years of the faithful witness of a spouse who lived and loved and prayed. what I want to do right now is just appeal to the person listening to me who's struggling. Maybe it's husband and wife both listening. If you're struggling, I want you to go to verse 7 of 1 Corinthians 13. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Now, I'm sorry I have to keep speaking to manipulation. That does not mean that you bear with physical abuse and infidelity. It means you bear with life together. Life. It's the realities of life, the realities of jobs and children and aging and sickness and all these other things. You bear all things, and you can if you are in Christ. You believe all things. You are believing someone who is outside of both of you. You believe him. You hope all things. And through the hope that is in him, you endure all things. Love never ends. If you and your spouse are in Christ, your love can never end. Can never end. That's why Jesus said this. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate. The incredible thing of what he has done in Christ to bring us in union with him, that mystery then is applied in the marriage between two believers. And God unites people in a union that must not be separated. So I appeal to you, brother or sister, apply the truth of God to the reality of your situation, whether you're married or considering being married. And if you need help, reach out to us or to your local church to get help in believing what you ought to believe. Thanks for listening.